So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the 5th of November. Remember, because yes, this is the day I'm actually recording this new podcast for you, because I've done a couple of other videos and I don't want to completely bombard you with more of my greatest hits. So this video will be appearing tomorrow or today, which is now the 6th of November. So something to make your Mondays a bit more worthwhile if you're having a case of the Mondays like Office Space, and hopefully this will bring a smile to your face.
My cat! My cat! That's not my cat!
Oh. Tired of the MCU and pop culture disasters? Then watch Jason Dumbass King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. Go ahead.
Make my day.
You know what else brought a smile to my face this week? Well, apart from the obvious. This news. The news from comicdom, from Hollywood, where everything continues to be race swapped or virtue signaled. And what do we begin with today, boys and girls? Well, the Echo TV show. Yes, Echo, that side character in Hawkeye, which I only watched for Jeremy Renner because that man is worth a pot of gold if he were a leprechaun. In fact, Jeremy Renner as a leprechaun would actually be a really good idea. Make that happen, Hollywood. But Echo executive producer Sydney Freeland. Now, I'm assuming the way Sydney is spelled that Sydney's actually a chick, shall we see? Oh, what a big surprise. There she is. Now, of course, what is she harping on about like an insufferable woman that she seems to be? Representation for the character of Maya Lopez was extremely important, because when you call Maya Lopez, surely already there's representation in that name, heritage. But she reveals the character's background and powers from her comic book counterpart have completely changed. So, you know, the comic book version, which I will show you right here, this lady right here, created by Joe Quesada, who's a very good writer and an artist for Marvel. Not sure if he still works with them now, but her powers included supernatural abilities, telepathy. But of course now, in the live action version, she's completely different. And I think the comic book version is a lot more attractive than Alaqua Cox, who plays her. Alaqua Cox, who I call Latina Long John Silver, because, yep, she's an amputee, and she's also a deaf person in real life, or as they used to say in the old days, deaf and dumb. So Laura Clark from Variety, the virtue signaling hit piece for the movies in Hollywood, interviewed Miss Freeland, and apparently they reimagined her being a member of the Choctaw tribe from Oklahoma. Don't know if they exist, they probably did. So as part of the indigenous people, indigeneity, oh my fucking word, Jesus Christ. Stick to the simple words, folks. They want to keep it authentic, because God forbid if you watch or if you're portraying Native American Indians in your show, that you're likely to offend them. If you've watched Banshee, which is a box set behind me, which you can't see right now, they had a Native American Indian tribe who, bloody hell, you wouldn't want to cross those people even on a good day. And I didn't hear any of those folks coming out and protesting about the negative portrayal of them in that particular TV series. Yeah. If you call Maya Lopez, surely there must be some degree of heritage there behind that name. Maya is from the Blackfeet tribe, but Freeland said that the accompanying visuals amounted to a hodgepodge of imagery that made her for a muddied and ultimately inauthentic backstory for the character. Because if anybody's going to virtue signal, somebody like Sydney Freeland would be the person, right? So let's watch the trailer, folks. It's got 118,000 upvotes, and the ratio is not that bad at the moment. It's only 14,000, but still, that's quite significant. So we're going to watch the trailer for Echo. This is a Disney Plus show, and I've heard some people have actually liked it, but again, it's a character I don't care about. So little schoolgirl Maya, let's see if she pulls off any magical tricks in this opening scene. I've not watched this before, so here we go. Yes. Right, okay, so that's the the not so middle-aged white man making creepy gestures at Miss Lopez. Are we good with that?
I see everything that you are. I always have.
I guess that was going to happen. I knew that. Like, if I was a vendor, I would have given the girl some food. She's deaf. She's trying to communicate. So this is the unhinged Kingpin, who apparently repeats some words in this trailer that he used with Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox in the Daredevil series. All black and white motif with no racial implications.
Don't be afraid.
Okay, so the impressions I get so far, this is a much more darker offering from the MCU. It's still the MCU, but it's dark and it's gritty. It's trying to be like Netflix, which they do try so hard to not acknowledge, and everybody loves the Netflix shows, even the bad ones.
You have so much pain in you.
Yeah, because she's an amputee, Kingpin. I mean, come on, Mr. Fisk. You must know that already. Are you just being ironic, sir? Oh, I know that guy.
So much rage. That you can't contain it.
Unpunished. Oh, are we going to see the Punisher here, I wonder? I wonder. Wow, holy shit, somebody getting shot in the neck? What the hell? Hi, doggy.
You and I are the same. So, who's the monster?
And that was it. Wow, that's actually, oh, look at that. Profile to be TV mature audiences on stream. Wow, look, I'm not going to get excited, but they're dropping all 10 episodes. I am going to watch it. That's actually shockingly not bad. This is what Hawkeye should have been when it came out. Gritty, don't have Florence Pugh in it or Haley Steinfeld. You could have got an unknown to fill those shoes. And I like Miss Steinfeld. She's very attractive, but I don't like her brand new music. I just like Miss Steinfeld, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this trailer was okay. It wasn't bad. I thought it was going to be absolutely filled with female cringe, but it wasn't. So, to be fair, I'll give it a look. It might, well, does it actually convince fans that will it bring in a new audience? Will people resubscribe and watch this? It might work, it might not. But again, if you're not showing Daredevil, you're bringing back a legacy character like Kingpin, played by the great Vincent D'Onofrio. Is that enough to pull the punters in? I cannot wait to see what the reaction will be, and I think January is a perfect time for that show to come out. Now, Sean Gordon Murphy, I'm not going to go into this story too much, but as soon as I saw the headline, I was like, oh, here we go again. More female empowerment nonsense, and this time it's a gender swap character, Zorro, you know, the gay blade. Sean Gordon Murphy reveals the main character for his upcoming Zorro comic is a lesbian. Says he's 90% aligned with Heather Antos. She used to be a comic creative for Marvel. I don't know much about her. I've heard her name being mentioned, but if he's aligning, maybe, I don't know, is she of the persuasion that she likes women? I don't know. So if he's aligning with her, that might be the reason. But From what I can tell from this article, Mr. Murphy has a disregard for anything because he's a big LGBT supporter and activist. He cancelled somebody some time ago because they had views that were very anti-LGBT, and a variant comic book cover they were going to use was pulled down because of that person's views or because they looked at our website. I hate virtue signalers like this guy right here. I don't need it. I don't need you to tell me what I can watch and what I mustn't watch.
I can't believe it, Captain.
What?
Inspector Hammer's holding hands with another man.
It's very interesting, Mayjoy.
But here's a story I've talked about before. J.J. Abrams' race-swapped Constantine series reportedly dead because J.J. Abrams was one of these idiots after the George Floyd incident in 2020, got up there and he was accusing Hollywood of having backroom meetings where there was no personal diversity involved. Everybody was all a cloud of white, or in my case, a cream of white. But yeah, the Hellblazer comics, I've never read them, but I've always used to see them in my comic book store for Forbidden Planet. But again, J.J. Abrams had this big deal with Warner Brothers over 2 years ago. They gave him so much money, and he's produced not one iota of a project for them. So I'm probably guessing that even though he signed that deal, I'm assuming he would only get paid if he brings the goods to the table. He's already got enough money anyway. He's produced a lot of TV shows and films over the years. So what does this deal actually say to us? Nothing much, really. But I'm glad this is not going to happen, to be honest, because there's only one Constantine TV show, Matt Ryan, in 2014. I'm actually going to buy it very shortly because even though it was one series, NBC, as usual, the dumbest network on American TV, had no idea what a good thing they had on their hands. And what do they do later on? Or rather, what did Warner Brothers do? Because it actually belongs to them. They turned it into an animated series with Matt Ryan lending his vocals. You could have just kept the live action version component, folks. I don't know. This is why mainstream media hates the fans. Marvel hates the fans. And yes, the Echo trailer shows they're trying to get their trust again, but anything you like in entertainment, folks, they will never listen to you. They will just hate your guts. So whether you've turned up there to watch and support this thing, and in the end, if you make suggestions they don't want to hear from you because you're a fan, you don't know what you're talking about, then why should we care? Again, buy legacy stuff, folks. Legacy physical media. It's all for the best. But this is the guy from Gangs of London who they wanted to use as the new Constantine. I mean, yes, the Keanu Reeves version is very good as well. And you're not going to say Keanu Reeves wasn't terrible. Yes, he couldn't do the Scouse accent, but he was still good in his own way. But according to sources at Warner Brothers, Sophie de Rizou was to play Constantine in the new HBO Max series. But this was a claim a long time ago. And the series would blend urban action, why? Because he's black, body horror, and the supernatural streets of modern-day London. It follows a young man whose entire world is upended when a chance encounter with a young girl pulls him into the dark and treacherous world of the occult. Furthermore, they noted that the production was looking for a 10-year-old female girl of Cambodian heritage to play the role of a character codenamed Akara, which the outlet speculated could be Astra, known as Astrid from the original comics. And yeah, Astrid is a 10-year-old white girl, ladies and gentlemen. But apparently now for the HBO Max version, she was intended to be Cambodian. I'm not sure what Cambodian actually has to do with it. You know, just get a normal white chick who's 10 years old who can act and just put her in a damn thing. You know, people like to virtue signal the whole black and white unite stuff, so why don't you just do that? Like I said, read the original Hellblazer comics. That's a badass cover. Read that. Brian Azzarello, Marcelo Frucine. They're good comics. They are, actually, in terms of the fact that I really do want to read them because I've heard so many good things about them. Back in the day when they were on sale, I'd always go for the Image comics because the covers are really, really good. But I should have paid more attention to these.
I call the shots and I fire the shots. Comprehendo?
Don't tell me. I bet you think all women should be barefoot and pregnant, right?
No, I encourage women to wear shoes.
The last thing I want to talk about, folks, I've mentioned it already in the week about this Blade reboot with Mahershala Ali somehow not getting off the ground. So apparently the Marvel executive behind the reboot has reportedly been fired because he didn't sound the alarm on the film's abysmal direction. It's one of the few times that anyone has actually heard Kevin Feige yell at someone. Because when you see Mr. Feige on stage, he looks very cool, calm and collected. Why is he going to start shouting at you like Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin? In a development which, if true, would be one of the most surprising things to come out of the MCU, in recent memory, a new report has claimed that the Marvel exec responsible for the Blade reboot has been sacked because they lied about how bad the project was. Well, the thing is, Kevin Feige should sit these people down and say, listen, I don't want any woke nonsense in my films. I want Mahershala Ali to be front stage center of this piece. It's his film. Put him in it. Give him a good villain as the titular character or Blade. But Tatiana Siegel, I talked about her already this week from Variety, exposed public criticism mounted to Feige, pulling the plug on the scripts and the projects that aren't working. The same Kevin Feige who says that the MCU was going to become all-female led after 2019's Endgame. And how has that gone for you so far, Kevin? Not so well, has it, sir? Because you're a big fat tit right now. Case in point, the Blade reboot had Mahershala Ali's on-screen, well, whoever's going to be his on-screen daughter, to be, his daughter, Brielle. Again, what is it with the black names? Why don't you just have like a normal name? Oh my god. But this concept right here, if this is this, I know it's a variant cover, but it just looks terrible. You know, I think, again, when I've heard that Blade was a D-list character in the comics, Wesley Snipes, man, he brought that character to life and made him an A-lister. He truly did. And you got to remember, the original Blade trilogy established the earlier version of Marvel continuity in their movies. And that's why Chris Evans said to Wesley Snipes at a party quite a few years ago, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have an MCU and we wouldn't have a series of films that tied into each other with great continuity back then. I'm not sure if the continuity in the 22 Marvel films before were actually accurate. I'm sure there have been some missteps here and there, but for the most part, people didn't seem to have a problem with that. But again, you know, someone like Mahershala Ali, by the time he gets to play this role, he's going to be 78 years old because he might as well give up the ghost and forget about it. You're never going to be Wesley Snipes, Mr. Ali. You're a good actor, but there's only one Blade, folks, and that is Mr. Wesley Snipes himself. And that was back in the day when they decided to get this project off the ground in 1997 before it came out in 98. And they just knew they had a good thing going at the time. Yes, Snipes and the director Stephen Norrington did clash quite a lot behind the scenes, but the end result isn't a messy one. In fact, if you look at The Fugitive with Harrison Ford, that film was plagued with behind the scenes troubles, improvised scripts, dialogue between Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford. And that's why, while it's a great film, I always felt the third act of that movie kind of suffered a little bit because it could have been a lot more tightly resolved and it kind of went on a bit too longer than it should have. But honestly, folks, I mean, what can I say about this news this week in the Cringe-Pocalypse? It's been absolutely, well, I can't say hysterical. It's just been surprisingly good, bad, and ugly. The good being Echo. Don't care about the character, but I will sit down and watch that series and see if I like it. I might like it as a standalone. It's not going to convince me that Marvel is changing its ways. Maybe they are acknowledging the criticism from many people. I mean, you know, She-Hulk, you might as well write it off as a bad tax rebate. Well, maybe again, it's probably too late now. I mean, the Willow show, nobody cared about that. You know, in fact, I remember when She-Hulk was coming out, a really good friend of mine was saying to me, oh, don't go and criticize it. I'm sure when he watched it, he must have thought, you know what, Jace, just do your thing on YouTube. and doing my thing. I certainly did. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this latest episode of the CRINGE-POCALYPSE podcast, make sure you leave a like below. Make sure you slap that bottom button like it was J.J. Abrams' face. And on that one, if you were me and if I were you and you still have to return a dog named Blue to Battersea Cats and Dogs home, you better come for me, coming for you on the next video.
So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right?
Let's come together.